The first time I saw her, she was standing in the doorway of a small cafe on Maple Street, holding her phone in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other, so distracted that she didn't even notice when the door bumped into the chair behind her. She looked tired, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. Her eyes were dull, like someone had turned down the light inside her. I didn't know her name yet. I didn't know her story. But something about her face stuck with me. It wasn't just sadness. It was deeper than that. It was guilt, secrets, and a storm that had been brewing for a very long time. Before we go any further, I want to know you better. Drop a comment right now telling me the time and the place where you're watching from. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who loves powerful stories. Now, let's jump back into the story. I sat at a table in the corner of the cafe, pretending to read, but I kept looking up at her. She finally noticed me staring and gave a quick, uncomfortable smile. Then she sat at a table near the window and just stared outside. Her coffee stayed untouched. I don't normally talk to strangers. I'm the kind of person who stays quiet, who watches, who listens. But that day, something pushed me. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was fate. Or maybe it was just that heavy feeling in the air that made it impossible to ignore her. So I stood up, walked over, and said softly, "Excuse me, are you okay?" She looked up at me, surprised. Her eyes were red, like she had been crying before she came in. "I'm fine," she said quickly. Too quickly. But her voice was shaking. I nodded and was about to leave when she suddenly added in a small, broken whisper, "I'm really not." That was the moment everything changed. "Do you want to talk about it?" I asked carefully. She hesitated, looked at the door, looked back at me. Then she sighed, the kind of sigh that carries weeks of pain. "Sure," she said. "Why not? You're a stranger. Maybe that makes it easier." "My name is Daniel," I said, sitting down in the chair across from her. "Amelia," she replied. A simple name, but it felt heavy in my mind. For a moment, neither of us said anything. Just the sounds of cups clinking and quiet voices filling the air around us. Then she spoke. "I'm ruining my own life," she said. I blinked. "That's a strong sentence." She smiled, but it wasn't a happy one. "I know, but it's true." She started twisting the cup in her hands, even though the drink had gone cold. "I'm married," she said. I nodded. "Okay, and my husband, he's a good man. Better than I deserve." That sentence made me curious. "What makes you say that?" I asked. Her jaw tightened. Her eyes filled up again. "Because," she whispered, "I'm cheating on him." The word sat heavy between us like a dark cloud. I didn't speak right away. I didn't judge. I just listened. "For almost a year now," she continued. "He doesn't know. And I don't even know who I am anymore." "Why are you doing it?" I asked gently. She laughed sadly. "That's the worst part. I don't even have a good reason." She leaned back, staring up at the ceiling now, as if answers might appear there. "My husband, Marcus, he works hard. He takes care of me. He listens to me. He supported me through college, through sickness, through my father's death. He never raised his voice at me once. He never cheated. He never lied." I swallowed hard. "Then what happened?" I asked. "Boredom," she said. "Loneliness that I created myself. A stupid craving for attention. A man at my office started flirting with me. Compliments. Long looks. Small touches that lasted a second too long. I should have stopped it. But instead, I enjoyed it." Her hands started shaking. "It started as messages. Then lunches. Then lies. And then one night, I told Marcus I was working late." She didn't finish the sentence. "She didn't need to." "And you kept going back," I said. "Yes," she admitted. "And every time I go home, my husband smiles at me like I'm his whole world. And every time he touches me with love, I feel like I'm covered in dirt." For the first time, anger sparked inside me. Not at Marcus. Not even at Amelia. But at the situation. At the quiet destruction of a man who didn't even know his heart was being torn apart piece by piece. She looked back at me. You must think I'm a monster. I studied her face. The wet lashes. The trembling mouth. I said slowly, you're a person who is about to lose something precious, and you don't even realize how much it's going to hurt until it's gone. Her eyes widened slightly. That's exactly why I wanted to meet someone like you today, she said. Someone like me? I asked. Yes. Someone who isn't connected to my life. Someone who might be brave enough to tell me the truth. Even if it hurts. Silence hung between us again. In that silence, I imagined Marcus. A faceless man, but I could see him in my mind, kind, trusting, loving. The kind of man many people pray to find. And without even knowing why, the words slipped out of my mouth before I had time to stop them. I leaned forward, looked her straight in the eyes, and said, your husband deserves better. Her reaction was not what I expected at all. Her hands stopped shaking. Her tears stopped falling. Her face went still. For a second, she just stared at me in shock, and then she laughed. Not a small laugh. A loud, surprising, almost scary laugh that made people at nearby tables turn to look at us. You don't even know him, she said between laughs. You only know my side. How can you say that? Because I don't need to know him, I replied calmly. The fact that you can sit here crying about your guilt already tells me everything I need to know about him. A bad man doesn't make a woman guilty. A good man does. Her laughter slowly faded. And if you keep doing this, I added, my voice low but firm, one day you'll wake up and he'll be gone. And that guilt you feel now will be nothing compared to the pain you'll feel then. She looked at me like I had just hit her, not with my hand, but with truth. You don't have the right to judge me, she said quietly. I'm not judging you, I said. I'm warning you. She stood up suddenly, grabbing her bag. I shouldn't have told you all this, she muttered. You're just making me feel worse. Good, I replied. She froze, shocked again. Because change doesn't come from feeling comfortable. Her eyes searched my face, confused, hurt, angry, but also thinking. For a moment, I thought she would yell at me. For another moment, I thought she would walk out and never look back. But instead, she slowly sat back down. Say it again, she said. Say what again? What you said. About him deserving better. I took a breath. Amelia, your husband deserves honesty. He deserves loyalty. He deserves respect when he's not even in the room. And right now, the one person who should protect his heart is breaking it. Tears were rolling down her cheeks again, but this time they were different. They weren't just guilt tears. They were realization tears. I don't know how to stop, she whispered. Yes, you do, I said. You just don't want to face the consequences. She closed her eyes. What if I already ruined everything? She asked. You won't know until you choose to do the right thing, I replied. Outside the window, the world kept moving. Cars passed by. People laughed on the sidewalk. Life continued like nothing was wrong. But at that table, two strangers were sitting in the middle of a moment that could change someone's entire future. She opened her eyes again and looked straight at me. What should I do? She asked. And that's when I realized this wasn't just a random meeting. This was a turning point. But what I told her next, what I advised her to do about her husband, and what secret she revealed just seconds after, would shock me even more than her confession. The cafe was quiet now. Even the music playing in the background felt far away. It was like the whole world had faded, leaving only the two of us at that small, round table by the window. Amelia's hands were still wrapped tightly around her cup. Her knuckles were white. Her lips trembled, but she didn't look away this time. What should I do? She asked again, her voice barely louder than a breath. I looked at her for a long moment before answering. If you really want to stop hurting him, I said slowly, then the first thing you need to do is stop lying. Not just to him, but to yourself. She swallowed hard. You mean, tell him? She whispered. Yes, one word, simple, powerful. Terrifying. Her face turned pale. You don't understand, she said quickly. If I tell Marcus the truth, he'll leave me. He'll never look at me the same again. And if you don't tell him, I asked, What happens then? She stayed silent. You keep smiling in his face while stabbing him in the back. You keep letting him believe in a version of love that doesn't exist. And you keep becoming someone you don't even recognize in the mirror. Her eyes dropped to the table. Sometimes I already don't recognize myself, she murmured. I sighed quietly. Then that is your answer right there. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The waitress came by and asked if we wanted anything else. Amelia shook her head. I ordered water just to break the silence. Then she said something that I didn't see coming. You remind me of him sometimes. The way you talk, my eyes lifted. Of your husband, she nodded slowly. You both have this steady voice. Like you believe in what's right, even when it hurts. A strange feeling settled in my chest. Well, I'm not him, I said. And I'm not in your marriage. I just happened to be a stranger who didn't want to watch you drown without saying something. She let out a sad little smile. That's when she leaned forward, lowering her voice even more. There's something else you don't know, she said. My body went still. What is it? I didn't just cheat on him with anyone, she whispered. I cheated on him with someone close to him. My heart skipped. Close how? I asked, already feeling tension twist inside me. She hesitated, then closed her eyes for a second before answering. He's not just a coworker. He's Marcus's best friend. The words slammed into me like a car crash. You're kidding. I said under my breath. I wish I was, she replied. Her face full of shame. Jason, they've been friends since high school. Marcus trusts him like a brother. He even helped plan our wedding. He stood right next to him at the altar. Suddenly, the story was 10 times darker. And he knows Marcus doesn't know? I asked. Yes, she said quietly. And he doesn't care. Anger rushed through me now, hot and sharp. So not only are you betraying your husband, his best friend is betraying him too, I said, shaking my head. Do you have any idea how cruel that is? Tears poured down her face again. Every day I wake up and promise myself it will be the last time, she cried. And every night, I break that promise because you never closed the door, I said. You left it open for temptation to keep walking in. She wiped her eyes. You don't know how deep it is, Daniel, she said. Jason is obsessed with me. He said if I ever leave him, he will tell Marcus everything. He said he'll destroy my marriage anyway. I froze. He's threatening you? I asked. She nodded. He said Marcus will believe him over me. He said it's too late, that I belong to him now. A chill went down my spine. This wasn't just an affair anymore. It was a trap. And Marcus still trusts him? I asked. Yes, she whispered. He invited him to our house just last weekend. They were laughing in the living room while I stood in the kitchen feeling like I was going to throw up. My stomach tightened as I imagined it. Why didn't you stop it the moment it started? I asked. Because I was stupid, she said brokenly. I was weak. I felt invisible and he made me feel seen. And now, I've destroyed everything. The water I ordered arrived, but I didn't even touch it. What if I help you? I said suddenly. She looked up fast. Help me how? What if I can find a way for you to get out of this before it explodes? Hope flashed in her eyes for the first time. You'd really do that for me? She asked. I'm not doing it for you, I replied. I am doing it for a man who has no idea two of the people closest to him are the ones who will break him the most. She looked away. You don't even know him, she whispered again. No, I admitted. But I know betrayal. And nobody deserves it. She turned back to me. Then tell me what to do. But before I could answer her, her phone lit up on the table. One message. One named Jason. She stared at it like it was poison. Then she unlocked it. I could see the message reflected in her eyes as she read, I saw you in the cafe. Who were you talking to? Her breathing stopped. My heart stopped. How did he? She began. Then she slowly raised her head and looked at the window behind me. And the color drained from her face. Because standing across the street, watching us through the glass, was a man I had never met before. But I somehow already hated. He was leaning against a car, arms crossed, eyes locked on us. Smiling. Watching. Waiting. Amelia's voice shook as she said 3 words that sent a cold shiver down my spine. That's him, and don't forget, subscribe, like, and share this story with someone who loves powerful drama. He was watching us, and what he did next still haunts me. When Amelia said, "That's him," the world around me seemed to tilt. I didn't turn around right away. I don't know why. Maybe fear, maybe anger, maybe the strange feeling that if I looked at him, things would get even more real, even more dangerous. But Amelia never took her eyes off the window. Her breath was shallow, her body stiff like a scared animal frozen in front of a predator. "He's been doing this for weeks," she whispered. "Showing up where I go, watching who I talk to, asking me questions he already knows the answer." Too slowly, carefully, I turned my head, and there he was. Jason. He didn't look like a villain. That was the scary part. He looked like a normal guy, tall, clean, neatly dressed. The kind of man you'd introduce to your family without thinking twice. The kind of man your husband would call a brother, but his eyes were not normal. They were sharp, cold, possessive. And even through the glass, I felt them on me like invisible hands grabbing my shirt. "He knows you see him," Amelia muttered. I looked back at her. "Good," she swallowed. "You don't understand how crazy he is." "Then let me see it for myself," I said. Jason pushed himself off the car and started walking towards the cafe door. Step by step, calm, confident. He wasn't running, he wasn't sneaking, he walked like he owned the place. Amelia grabbed my arm. "Please, don't say anything that will make him angry," she begged. "You mean like telling the truth?" I said quietly. Her fingers trembled on my sleeve. The door opened, a bell rang, and Jason walked in. The air in the cafe changed. Conversations dropped lower. Even the music seemed to get quieter as he stepped closer to our table. He didn't look at Amelia first. He looked at me, up and down, slowly. A smile curved on his lips. "Funny running into you to here," he said casually. "Amelia, you didn't say you were meeting a friend." She looked at the table, unable to meet his eyes. "He isn't a friend," she said softly. Jason's smile grew wider and darker. "No," he said, glancing at me again. "Then what is he?" I stood up slowly to match his height. "I'm just someone who noticed she wasn't okay," I said. "So I asked." Jason chuckled. "That's sweet," he replied. "But next time, mind your business." I could see it now. The control in his tone. The threat hidden in his calm voice. "Is this how you talk to all strangers who care?" I asked. "No," he said calmly. "Only the ones sitting with what's mine." The word mine hit Amelia like a slap. She finally looked up. "I don't belong to you, Jason," she said, her voice shaking. "I never did." For the first time, his smile twitched. "Is that what you're telling yourself now?" he replied. "After all the nights you spent in my bed?" The words hung in the air like poison gas. People in the cafe turned to look. Amelia buried her face in her hands. "Stop," she whispered. "Please just stop." Jason leaned on the table, getting closer. "You don't get to tell me to stop," he said. "You started this, remember?" I felt anger rush through me. "You're enjoying this," I said. He turned his attention to me again. And he replied, "She chose me, not Marcus. Not her perfect little husband. Me, you manipulated her." I snapped. He smirked. "And it worked." I clenched my fist, but kept my hands at my side. "What do you want?" I asked him. His eyes flicked back to Amelia. "I want her to remember who she belongs to," he answered. "She doesn't belong to anyone," I replied firmly. "She's a human being, not your property." That's when Jason's calm mask dropped for just 1 second. His eyes darkened. "You should be careful," he warned quietly. "You don't know what you're stepping into." I didn't move. "Maybe," I said. "But I know right from wrong, and what you're doing is wrong." He laughed again, straightened his jacket, and glanced around the cafe. "Enjoy your coffee," he said. "We'll continue this conversation later, in private." Then he looked down at Amelia one last time. "And you," he added, "don't forget that your husband trusts me more than anyone. One word from me, and your perfect life is over." With that, he turned and walked out like nothing had happened. The bell rang again, and the air slowly returned to normal. But my skin still felt cold. Amelia looked up at me, tears streaming down her cheeks. "You see now," she whispered. "You see what I'm trapped in?" I nodded slowly. "Yes," I said. "Now I do." She wiped her eyes, panic all over her face. "What if he tells Marcus before I do?" she sobbed. "What if Marcus hears it from him instead of me? Then you don't give him that power," I replied. "How?" she cried. "By telling your husband the truth first." She shook her head violently. "I'm scared, Daniel. I'm terrified. Marcus will hate me, maybe," I said gently. "But at least the truth will come from your mouth, not the mouth of the man who is trying to destroy both of you." She stared at me in silence for a long time. Then she slowly picked up her phone. "What are you doing?" I asked. Her thumb hovered over the screen. "I'm calling him," she whispered. My heart pounded. "Right now?" I asked. She nodded, tears falling onto the phone screen. "Yes, right now." Her finger pressed call. The ring echoed in our ears, once, twice, 3 times, then, "Hey babe." Marcus's warm voice came through the phone. "Everything okay?" Amelia burst into tears so loudly that people turned to look again. "And Marcus," she sobbed, "I need to tell you something. Please don't hang up." I held my breath. "This is important," she continued, shaking, "and I don't know how to say it without breaking your heart." There was silence on the other end. Then Marcus spoke again, slower this time. "You're scaring me." "Amelia," he said, "just tell me, what's going on?" She looked up at me, eyes begging for strength. And in that moment, I knew whatever came next would change all of our lives forever, but I never expected what Marcus would say after her confession. The words he said after her confession changed everything. The phone was pressed tightly to Amelia's ear. Her hand was shaking so badly I was scared she might drop it. I could hear Marcus breathing on the other end of the line, slow, careful, like he was already preparing himself for bad news. "There's something I should have told you a long time ago," she cried. "And I was too afraid because I knew it would hurt you." My throat felt dry as I listened. Outside the cafe window, cars passed. People walked by. Life kept moving. But inside that small moment, time completely froze. Marcus didn't speak for a few seconds. "Amelia," he said at last, his voice low and calm, "whatever it is, just say it. I'm here." Her face twisted in pain. I betrayed you," she whispered. "I had an affair." The world went silent. Even the people around us in the cafe felt like shadows. "With who?" Marcus asked quietly. Her eyes closed. "Jason." I felt the air leave my lungs. For a long moment, there was absolutely nothing on the line. No breathing, no movement, just silence. Then Marcus said something that none of us saw coming. "I already knew." Amelia gasped. "You, what?" she cried. "You knew?" "Yes," he replied. "I've known for 3 months." My body went cold. "How?" she whispered. Marcus let out a slow, painful exhale. "I saw your messages on the iPad one night when you were sleeping. At first I thought there must be a mistake, that maybe it was some joke or some misunderstanding. But then I started watching the way you acted, the way you hid your phone, the way you stopped looking at me the same." Tears poured down her face. "So you've just been pretending this whole time," she sobbed. "I was hoping you would come to me on your own," he said. "I was praying you would choose me again without being forced." My heart tightened. "And Jason?" she asked quietly. Did you know it was him too?" "Yes," Marcus replied. Her face completely drained of color. "And you still let him come into our home," she whispered in horror. "Yes," he said. "I wanted to see how deep the betrayal really went. I wanted to understand how far my own best friend would go against me." "You tested him," she muttered. "I trusted him like a brother," Marcus said. "And he chose to stab me in the back." Then his voice shifted, harder now, colder. "But I need you to answer one thing truthfully." "Amelia." "What?" she cried. "Do you love him?" The cafe seemed to disappear around me. Amelia looked straight down at the floor. I don't know what I feel anymore, she whispered. That was enough to completely break him. So after all these years, Marcus said slowly, you can't even say you love me anymore. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. You don't have to answer, he added. Because your silence already told me everything. Pain wrapped itself around her face, Marcus. Please, she begged, I made a horrible mistake. But I still care about you. Care is not the same as love, he cut in, and love is not meant to live with lies. I watched Amelia crumble in her chair. What are you going to do? She asked, barely able to breathe. There was a quiet, dangerous calm on the other end of the call. I'm going to handle Jason myself, Marcus said. My heart jumped. What does that mean? She demanded in fear. It means the next time he sees me, Marcus said, his voice now sharp as a knife, he'll understand exactly what happens to a man who betrays his brother. A chill ran through my spine. Don't do anything crazy, Amelia cried. Please, Marcus, I'm begging you. You should have begged me 3 months ago, he replied. Then the line went dead. The call ended. Amelia stared at the phone in horror. He's going to hurt him, she whispered. He's going to kill him. I grabbed her hand firmly. Hey, I said, forcing calm into my voice. Listen to me. Marcus is hurt, yes. Angry, yes. But that doesn't mean he's going to do something stupid. You don't know Marcus when he's betrayed, she cried. You don't know how far he can go, and that's when my phone vibrated in my pocket. One text message. No name. Just a number I didn't recognize. The message read, you're involving yourself in things that don't concern you. Walk away while you still can. Amelia looked at the screen and froze. He has your number now too, she whispered. I lifted my eyes to the window and there, across the street, Jason was back again. But this time, he wasn't smiling, he was on the phone, and I knew exactly who he was calling. My stomach dropped as I whispered, he's calling Marcus. Amelia clutched her chest in panic. Oh my God, it's happening. Outside, Jason paced back and forth with the phone in his ear, talking angrily, his free hand moving in the air like he was shouting. Then he suddenly stopped walking. And slowly, he raised his head and looked straight at me through the glass. Then he smiled and mouthed 3 terrifying words. She chose me. My blood turned to ice. And in that exact moment, my phone began to ring again. This time, it was Marcus. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share so you don't miss how this story ends. The truth that set everyone free. My phone would not stop ringing. Amelia stared at the screen in my hand as Marcus's name flashed again and again. She was pale, shaking, barely breathing. Answer it, she whispered. Please just answer it. I hesitated for a second, then pressed the button and lifted it to my ear. Marcus, I said carefully. His voice came through, heavy, tired, broken in a way that sent a sharp pain through my chest. He just called me, Marcus said calmly. I closed my eyes. Jason, yes, a long pause. He said a lot of things. Some lies, some truths, some things I was not ready to hear, but needed to. In the background, I could hear wind. Traffic. He was outside somewhere. Where are you? I asked. I drove, he replied. I needed air. I needed space. If I stayed in that house, with their memories on the walls, I don't know what I would have done. Amelia leaned closer to me, her eyes wide in fear and hope at the same time. Are you okay? I asked. Another long silence. I wanted to hurt him, Marcus admitted. I wanted to find Jason and make him pay for what he's done. For betraying me. For poisoning my marriage. For taking advantage of my wife when I wasn't looking. Amelia's whole body shook. But I asked quietly. But on the way there, Marcus continued, I saw a man on the side of the road, screaming at his wife, grabbing her arm, threatening her in front of their little child. The boy was crying, begging his dad to stop hurting his mom. My heart dropped, and I realized something. He said, violence doesn't heal betrayal. It multiplies it. That boy will grow up thinking pain is love. And I refuse to become that example just because I'm hurting. Tears rolled down Amelia's face. I'm choosing to walk away from destruction, Marcus said, even though every part of me is screaming for revenge. He let out a broken breath. Because at the end of the day, Jason will have to live with what he is. And that punishment is far heavier than anything I could ever do to him. The words hit deep. I swallowed hard. What about Amelia? I asked carefully. There was silence. Then he answered, I don't hate her, but I can't be married to her anymore. Not after this level of betrayal. Not after her heart left before her body did. Amelia covered her mouth as a painful sob escaped. I forgive her for my own peace, he added. But I'm also choosing self-respect. He paused one last time. Tell her I hope she becomes the woman she forgot how to be, but she will have to find that path without me. Then the call ended. I lowered the phone slowly. Amelia looked up at me with eyes full of regret, loss, and realization. It's over, she whispered. I destroyed the only man who ever truly loved me. You didn't just lose Marcus, I said gently. You lost the version of yourself he believed in too. She nodded slowly. Outside, Jason was still standing there for a moment, watching. But when he realized the drama was ending without chaos, without violence, without a show, his face changed. No more power, no more control. He turned and walked away, and for the first time since I met her, Amelia looked free, not happy, not proud, but free from the chains of a lie that almost destroyed 3 lives. She stood up slowly. What should I do now? She asked in a quiet voice. Start being honest, I replied. With yourself first. That's where peace begins, she nodded. Thank you for telling me the truth, she said. No, I answered. Thank you for finally telling it to him. She walked out of the cafe alone into the open world where she would have to rebuild from the wreckage she helped create. And I sat there for a long time, thinking about love, about temptation, about how one choice can change the direction of your entire life. Moral lessons from this story: 1. Lies grow bigger the longer you hide them. The earlier you tell the truth, the less damage it does. 2. Temptation is loud, but self-control is power. What feels good in the moment can destroy a lifetime. 3. Forgiveness is not weakness. Sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is walk away instead of fighting. 4. You don't own people. Love is not possession. The moment you start controlling someone, you have already lost them. 5. Honesty will hurt, but lies will destroy. And in the end, the truth is the only thing that truly sets you free. Now let me ask you something. If you were Marcus, would you have forgiven her? And if you were Amelia, would you have told the truth sooner? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one of them. If this story moved you, shook you, or opened your eyes in any way, please don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this video. To support the channel, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. More deep, emotional, and eye-opening stories are on the way. This is not just a story, it is a warning, a lesson, and a mirror. Thank you for taking this journey with me.